I will be exploring the difference and similarities of worship in Hinduism in Mumbai and in Britain. As a Hindu myself, I was interested in finding more about the polytheistic religion. More specifically, I will be focusing on the Sri Siddhivinayak temple in the heart of Mumbai and a standard temple which can be located in London. Surprisingly, there are a lot of similarities and differences when comparing how worship is executed in these different regions. We'll be focusing on the contrasting ways communal worship is executed, rituals, traditions, and the temple itself. Hinduism has been known to be the oldest religion and nowadays the third largest. Hinduism is a polytheistic religion, which means that there is a belief in or worship of more than one god. Hinduism is defined as a way of life by Sharma in 2003, with having around 1 billion followers scattered all around the world. There was a wave of Hindu immigrants after the Second World War in the late 60s in the UK. There was a need to preserve their traditions and roots, which included practicing Hinduism in a temple. There was a priority of ensuring that the second generation of these Indians were aware of their heritage and identity. This diaspora seemed to be growing in numbers as some of these Hindus were constructing temples and centres for worship. The first Hindu temple in the UK opened in 1981, which is around 2,000 years after the first temple was built in India. It is worth noting that puja, which means reverence or worship in Sanskrit, is different in the UK and in India. In India, puja is carried out each morning at a mandir, which means temple, after bathing and before taking in any food or drink. Puja is meant to relate humans and the deity or god in the temple. For example, when going to a temple, there are murtis, which translate to images or statues. This represents the spirit. In Hemant Kanikar's book called Hinduism, it is stated that Brahman, the supreme spirit, is believed to pervade the land, the oceans, river and air, all the creatures in the universe, vegetation, the planet and stars. In India, these murtis are taken care of by the people in the temple. They treat them as if they were human by feeding them, bathing them, and offering money. However, in the UK, temples are not in abundance like in India. This might mean that some households will choose to do their puja at home. They may have a shrine which has pictures of their deity and worship there using malas and sacred thread. In India, communal worship is heavily encouraged as there is a sense of community. Normally, the Hindus will venerate the deity. They will have a thali, which translates to a tray, that will contain a diya, a lit lamp, water, fruit and flowers as an offering to the god. Then the worshipper moves the thali in circular motion to respect and pray to the deity. In the UK, the temples are clearly not as elaborate as the ones found in India. However, they have a different purpose, which is much more holistic. The temple is used as a community centre where it allows the younger generation to obtain information about their religion that may not be easily accessible to them. Also, there are classes which offer to teach them their parents' mother tongue and preserve their heritage. These centres may look like ordinary buildings from the outside, but have gods inside just like a temple in India. There also might be a kitchen inside a temple, where Indian prasad is cooked, as it may not be easily available in the UK. However, in India, the temples are enormous and grand. Some of the temples may be covered in red lead, which symbolises the deity. The architecture derived from the Gupta rulers who controlled central northern India during the 4th to 6th century. Each part of the temple defines something, such as the shikara symbolises the sanctity of the Vimana. This is a definite contrast to the buildings in the UK. Obviously, Hindus in the UK would like to keep worship similar to what anyone would find in India. However, in the UK there's a significant contrast in choice of attire. In India there's a strict dress code that discourages Western clothing, which include anything that exposes the legs or shoulders. Temples also may require men to remove their shirts, as it is a tradition. Women may choose to wear a sari or salwar kameez that covers their head and is modest. Also, red dot on your forehead may be required as it symbolises wisdom of the brain. In the UK, modest dressing is encouraged, where women should aim to cover their shoulders and legs. This doesn't necessarily mean by wearing traditional attire. Women may choose to wear trousers and long-sleeved t-shirts. In both India and the UK, shoes are not permitted in the temple and have to be taken off as leather is spiritually impure. To conclude, worship in the UK and in India have their differences and similarities due to modernity and geographical differences.